Welcome to the 2023-2024 ice fishing season here in New Hampshire. It's the beginning of November. I have stuff trickling in through all the people that I work with. A lot of accessories this year. Last year I got a bunch of big items, and now this year they're tacking on top of that stuff with accessories, which just spend the money on accessories. I wish I did up front with other previous hobbies that I've done. Just buy the stuff up front and just get it over with. So we're going to talk about everything that I'm using for the 2023-2024 ice fishing season. Last year was terrible. If you want to watch those videos last year, they're still good videos. It's just the ice was terrible last year. We had a lot of warm weather. Hopefully, we have some decent ice this year. So this video is going to be pretty long. I'm going to kind of whiz through what I used last year pretty fast. And then I'm going to deep dive into other videos. And I will leave the links for those below as I create them, on like product reviews and accessories that I bought through these things in kind of like more detail if that kind of fits the need of a video basically. So let's go through everything that I'm using this year. Let's start off with the big stuff behind me, the shacks. So last year I got the Outbreak 450 XD, and this has the rain shield technology stuff on it. I'm not sure what makes it waterproof, but is it extremely waterproof? I sat in this thing for 12 hours straight in pouring rain on New Year's, and I was completely dry in it. It is an awesome shelter. It's got the walk-through door, so let me open that real quick. The no-trip door is fantastic. Now, you might not think that, oh, I'm young and limber, and I'm 35 years old, and I can step over the normal doors. That's great, but when you're chugging through a bunch of deep snow and you got big heavy boots on and a full set of bibs and clothes and stuff like that, your legs get pretty heavy and don't want to lift over that little thing. So get the walk-through door. It'll save you from smashing your face against the ice. That's a huge thing. So let's take a tour of what I'm doing in here this year compared to different than it was last year. I used it probably a handful of times last year. There was not a lot of safe ice to camp on, but when there was, I was out there. Some windows open. I'm running some truck bed lights. So like if you were to lift your tunnel cover up, these are like stick-on truck bed lights. I haven't really used these yet. I just bought these at the end of the season last year to do one last trip, and the ice was not safe, so I ended up not using it. But I'm using them this year. I'm running off the Ion battery pack that comes with your auger. Let me shut that off real quick. And this is the 40 volt Gen 3 battery with the adapter. So that's an accessory from last year, which is really, really cool because it comes with a USB port, 2 USB ports, and a 12 volt little thing. So you can power stuff like lights, and it's not super, it's very low amperage, but it works great for powering stuff like this. And I'm running floor mats. So these are Harbor Freight foam blocks. I'll leave a little picture of the part number right here on the screen for you. And I'm going to do a whole video on how many blocks you need, tiles you need to keep your shelter high and dry. One of the new accessories that all of the Eskimo hubs can fit is this new E-hub system. Now, this little plate here with a couple of screws, you take that main screw out right there, that main bolt. That goes right up there, and now you have a rod holder, a camera mount, which I'm going to love because this is what I do, a phone holder, and a rattle wheel, which I've always wanted one of these for burbot fishing at night, but now I have one. So I'm going to set those up in all of the corners of the shack here, which is going to be really, really cool. So that's a new thing. They also have this largemouth dry bag, which is going to hold my clothes and probably my sleeping bag in it. And apparently it has backpack straps on, or at least one sling strap, which is going to be really nice. And there's the new Eskimo keeper gloves that have a little snot wiper right there on them, which is pretty sweet. That's it for what's going in this shack this year. So a couple other things that I'm starting off with this season is I'm going to be running the Snow Dog, the 2022 model, which is the Snow Dog Sport. This runs in at $5,000, and I'm going to do a whole video about why it's worth $5,000 or why it's not worth $5,000. It really depends on your preference and whether you want to buy a snowmobile or not. So I'm running that. they're sending me more accessories for that, and I have a whole video of all the mods that I've done for that, and I'll leave that below. So this video is going to be the massive video, and there's going to be a bunch of videos that kind of spit off of this. I'm running the Eskimo 40-inch rod locker off the side of that, and people have been asking me how I'm mounting that, because there's no actual mounting hardware for, or straps or anything like that for the 42-inch rod locker. So I'm going to do a whole video on that. The Eskimo 8-inch pistol bit with the Milwaukee fuel, the Redneck spud bar or ice chisel, which is a necessity for early ice. These are for Bill ice cleats, I think these are for Brills. And these are the best ones I found. I tried 4 other brands last year and I hated every one of them. These are low profile, they stick to the ice. They do tend to fall off every once in a while, but you end up using a lot of slush when that happens. And then you need to buy a pair of these. I don't think Eskimo makes anything like this, but they have a little spike on the end of them to help save people. And I actually saved somebody last year. If you want to watch that video, it's not a very funny video or anything like that. I actually had to save someone last year, pull them out of the ice. It was not a fun time. Everybody laughed about it after, but the guy really could have died. So I'll leave that video below. It talks about ice. I talk about ice safety, save the guy, and then talk more about it. And it was a really scary event for a lot of people. I'm running the Garmin LiveScope Plus throughout the year, and then I'm running a ton of Circle tackle rods this year, and they just came out with a new ice fishing reel, which is their KY 1000 size reel, which I have not used yet. I'm excited to try that this season. And this is an ugly stick rod that I use for early ice, and I use it with this automatic fisherman snapper. Now it's an equivalent to a jaw jacker. It works a little bit different, but it does not freeze unlike a jaw jacker does. I've had issues with jaw jackers with that mechanism in the front. If any sort of water gets on there, if a fish comes out of the hole and splashes and water gets on that, it'll work while you set it, and then if it's below freezing, that'll lock up and you'll miss fish, especially light, especially stock trout. They'll bite it, feel tension, and like literally spit it right out. So that's why I like the snapper. I'm running the Ion Alpha, and I know Eskimo came out with the new E40. The Alpha is a little bit heavier, but it is the workhorse of the auger industry, ice auger industry right now. And it cuts faster. It is definitely a beast, and I actually prefer it. I'd rather carry the extra weight than use the pistol bit because it cuts so nice. And I have a video about that coming out soon as well. I always run the small Mr. Buddy heater, of course. Circle Tackle, like I said, comes out with a bunch of different rods. They have their Dex series, they have their Alpha series, and they have their other series, and I'll leave the link for them below. I use the lake trout rod predominantly, and they have a panfish rod that is just like super sensitive and perfect for crappie and bluegill and the early water species that I target for the most part. And our lake trout series, our lake trout season doesn't start until January 1st, so I have to wait for solid ice for that anyways, and then that season starts. So, and you guys know I love the lake trout. We have the new to me, men's Eskimo keeper suit. So last year I ran the Superior Suit system, which has a puffer, I call it, pant and jacket liner basically. It's not a really liner. It doesn't it kind of like snaps into it, but it doesn't like zip in like as a full liner would. And then the jacket is a shell, and the bottom is a shell. Only once was it cold enough to wear all 4 pieces. It is an extremely hot suit. I mean, it is the top of their line. It scores 3 across breathability and flotation and warmth. It is just super warm. So I only wore either the bottoms or one of the top. I would trade on and off, but early season I don't even wear the liners because it's just way too warm. You know, last but not least is the Eskimo Escape 2400. Now, I actually took the bench, actually didn't install the bench when I first got this, and ended up sleeping in this not once but twice, which was awesome. So this is insulated. It's about 90 pounds with the seat in it. It's a little heavy. And the reason I went with the 2400 is my truck bed size is 5 feet. And this just fits in the back of the truck with I have a cap on the back of my truck, lifting it in there. So this folds down and is part of my run and gun setup with the snow dog, because that is crucial. I don't like to sit and camp for very long. I'll set up home base in the 450 and then I'll run around in either that if I have someone with me, or I'll just run around with no shelter and scout for fish. I don't like sitting and waiting, mainly because I don't use a lot of live bait. But I'll run you through what's in here, kind of for accessories. So one of the new accessories this year is this little gear net, which is going to be fantastic for putting gloves and stuff up there and letting that dry. I haven't put all the bars up here because I don't really feel the need to most of the time. So it's got a front bar for support. You're supposed to have 2 of those on there. It's got lots of windows in it. The seat is an absolute beast, which is what adds most of the weight. It's got a little back zipper, plenty of windows on that side. I have a battery pack thing with it, and I also have the hitch system with it, which is why I run and gun with it with the Snow Dog. And I also have Hyfaxes underneath it that you guys can't see right now. And I also have, I'm adding on to the back here 2 spreader bars to hold up these things so they're not bouncing around the bottom of my sled. This thing is absolutely fantastic for what I like to do, which is run and gun lake trout fishing. If it's 20 degrees or so, I will take this for the day. 20 degrees or less for the day. If it's hovering around 30 degrees, I just dress warm and buzz around, especially if I have someone with me, it's just easier. But if I'm really setting up on someplace, this is the shack to go. And Eskimo just came out with their 2,000 size of this, which is, I think, 20 square feet of fishing area. I think that's how the numbers work. This is 24 square feet of fishing area that's in front of you. That one's supposed to be like hand towable. This one's meant to be towed with by a machine. So keep that in mind. I think both of those fit in a 5-foot bed, or you can fit in the back of your car. It's way easier to lift up with somebody else if you get 2 people on one side and just huff it into the back of your car or your truck. I am running, so I think that's everything except for my underwater cameras. I didn't run a lot of underwater cameras last year. Ever since I switched over to live scope, just using that is just so much easier to catch fish. The underwater camera footage is mainly for you guys, and it's really cool for me to see, but you learn a lot using live scope. So I run an AquaView HD 7i Pro, and I run the AquaView Mini Revolution 5, I think. And they've come out with some new stuff. I don't work with them at all, but there's some really cool stuff that they're coming out with. They have come with a saltwater model and some inline trolling AquaView stuff, which is pretty cool. But I think that's everything that I'm going into this year. I think that's everything for the 2023-2024 season. And like I said, I'll keep you updated if I add anything to the list. Really, I try to keep what I bring on the ice fairly simple. Even though I had the Snow Dog, we had really crappy ice last year, so I kept, I could have got a couple more different shacks or something like that, but this is what I ended up with, and it ended up working perfect. My overnights were in the big shack or the small shack, depending on what I was trying to do, and the Snow Dog ripped me around. I did, I would have to say 50, 60 miles with it last year, easy, probably even more than that, even with bad ice. So that's everything. I'm going to leave the links for everything below, and any other videos that I talked about what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the day here, basically is filming the rest of the videos. But that's it. And if you want to stay tuned for more videos, make sure you hit that little subscribe button, bell notification, and either click here or here. There's a whole playlist for ice fishing, and then there's some how-to ice fishing videos right here. See you on one of those next videos.